watching Numbskull News, and today we're going to talk about how the CFP negotiations might just be throwing out a little truth, maybe showing us the way that realignment is going to go in the future. Let's start with Brett Yormark. What a sneaky little bastard. What a sneaky guy. But he's got a plan for the Big 12, and I like it. I like the look-in provision he talked about. Now think about the year 2028. 2028. You know, from what I've heard, I think what everyone has accepted as fact, at least everybody outside the ACC has accepted as fact, is that that ESPN can pull out of that contract, negate the extension to 2036. Therefore what? Therefore, ESPN would no longer have a media rights deal after 2027. Strange how the look-in provision is right there in 2028. I don't think that's on accident. I think it's telling us that yes, that is true. ESPN can just, we're not going to extend past 2027. And I believe everyone believes that's going to happen, especially when Florida State gets out of there. Because also, what also triggers that look-in provision is realignment. That's what triggers it early before 2028. That's what triggers the look-in. And what I'm imagining, wherever FSU goes, right? Big Ten, SEC, they'll get a little more money for adding Florida State. And then that will be taken from the percentage that the ACC gets. And I'm also imagining the same thing will happen with Clemson. But the sneaky thing is once 2027 comes around, these teams are in a conference that has no media deal, and they're searching, they're trying, they're clawing, they're scratching for a media deal. But what is a media deal going to be worth without Florida State, without Clemson, possibly without Miami? It's not going to be worth what it was. That money they were getting, that was, your basic media rights for the ACC is just a hair under the Big 12, and then it takes it past the Big 12 once you add in the ACC network. But without Florida State, without Clemson, possibly without Miami, that money, no one's going to give you that money for that collection of teams without your big dogs, without your blue bloods. And at that point, what do you do if you're Louisville, if you're Pitt, NC State, Virginia Tech? It's pretty simple, right? It's pretty simple. Let's go to a stable conference that's making more money than we are. Deals with ESPN and Fox. That's what you do. That's what Utah did. That's what the Arizona schools did. That's what Colorado did. Because screw being someplace where you're not going to be making the money you want to make and not have the exposure that you want to have. That's what, and what it tells me is Brett Yormark is setting it up for that through the CFP as far as what the Big 12 is going to get. Big 12 money, if ACC is gone, y'all, because I believe we could possibly get as many as 8 teams out of the ACC. Where our money is going to go up. Because if the ACC gets nuked, well, then their position within the CFP goes away. Even if they replenish with group of 5, folks. Look at what the SEC and the Big Ten thought about SMU in the ACC. They didn't. That was a damn fight to try to get them paid. All right, so an ACC without their blue bloods, and then you throw in Tulane, Rice, South Florida Bulls, or Memphis, and I like Memphis. I like them a lot, but the Big Ten and the SEC do not. They don't. They don't respect that program at all. And if you lose teams to the Big 12, if you know the four I talked about, maybe Duke, Georgia Tech, dare I say UNC or Virginia, if the schools like that find their way over to the Big 12, and then you're just having to basically become the next American conference, well, you're going to get treated like a group of five. What's that term? I know Flugar used it. Socialization. They're socializing a certain model, the 3-3-2-2-1 and 3 at large for a 14 team deal. You notice there's no automatic qualifiers for the pack. There was no set money for the pack. What that's telling me is they're now looked at like a group of five. You know, whether they merge with the Mountain West or whatever, the money's not going to change. They are now group of five. That's where they are. That is also the ACC's future. And this is kind of tipping the hand a little bit, showing us what the future is. So what we know is that the questions are still out there. Is the G any more G5 is going to get into the power conferences, one of the power conferences? And the answer is no. No, the door's been shut. SMU should have told you that, how that was a dogfight getting them paid. It should have told you everything you needed to know about how this was going. And now that you see the structures lined up, talk about look-in provisions. And so, you know, if the ACC is basically a handful of original ACC teams and a bunch of group of five, they're going to get paid like the group of five from the CFP. That's it. That's it. The good news is if you're the Big 12, you can get paid a lot more than what you currently are, closer to the Big 2. Yormark, as far as being sneaky, he's kind of okay. Big 10, SEC. There's a few things that he shut down. You know, he shut down him and Jim Phillips. Let's be fair. They shut down the two automatic bye weeks for the Big 10 and the SEC. They shut that down. They shut down the 4 automatic qualifiers for each one of those conferences. But it seems to me he's willing to give on some things. You know, remember, when he got the deal for the Big 12 from ESPN and Fox, a lot of people said you got underpaid. You know, especially Pac fans or even Pac journalists, people within the Pac, maybe a Kurt Scholes, maybe Kliakov, people like that. They talked about it. Like, you kind of took the lesser deal. You should have held out. And it turns out, no, that was the right play. Is okay, you know, ESPN. We understand we lost Texas and Oklahoma. You don't know what the deal is now. So we'll take the little bit lesser deal. It's still more money than we were getting per team. We'll go ahead and do that. You know, if you're Brett Yormark, hey, Big 10, SEC, you're going to make more money in the CFP. Okay, our money doubles. And we're still going to trail the ACC by a little bit. But Florida State is still there. Clemson is still there. That's fine. But let's have us a little look-in provision in case that's not the case anymore. And then we can go and snatch some of your money. See what I'm saying? It's a very smart way to do business. Now, I'm not sure if it was Yormark's idea or someone else's idea. There's going to be speculation on it. But the look-in provision also is about looking in and seeing what conferences are actually being productive as far as how much they're making out of the CFP and who's not. Now, for those people who want to be a pecker and talk about, well, that was put in there by the Big 10 and the SEC in case the Big 12 starts to suck and then they can just jack your money. Remember these two entities, they don't like each other particularly a whole lot. I know they're working together right now But it is not inconceivable from now until 2027, 28. But let's say the Big Ten wins the lion's share of the national titles till then. All right, whether that's Ohio State, Oregon, Washington, Michigan resurgence, Penn State. They got enough teams that can do it. USC, right now, it doesn't look like they can do it. But maybe in 3 or 4 years, they find another quarterback. They rebuild some things. They can still recruit out the ass. They're still a blue blood. Don't count them out. But they got enough. They got enough real players in that league now. It's not inconceivable. All right. Alabama may be down for the count for a while. LSU's always pretty good. But who says they're going to be that good? Georgia, can they find their way back? I mean, a lot of people have them as number one team going in. They're the favorite to win it all, possibly. Could. But, I mean, what is that, 4 years? What if the Big Ten wins 3 out of 4? The look-in provision comes in 2028. If I'm the Big Ten, I'm like, why is the SEC making more out of this thing than we are again? Let's go ahead and flip that. Go ahead and flip it. I like this idea of the entire look-in, every piece of it, because it's going to see who's earning what every single time. That's great. And so you'll have the 2028 look-in, and then the end of the contract, then you'll be renegotiating a new CFP. And that's basically a look-in again. I like the fact that this is kind of progressive thinking, because I don't like the automatic qualifiers that much. I don't like the Big Ten and the SEC getting this big unequal chunk of the money. I understand it, but I do like the look-in stuff, because it's not just about the Big Ten or the ACC imploding. It's also about who's performing in the SEC and the Big Ten. And if the SEC dominance continues, well, I'm looking at the Big Ten and I'm like, why are you making like pretty close to what we should get a little bit more if I'm the SEC? See, it does a lot of things like that as well. It's not just about I'm not worried about the Big 12. We're not expected to win titles. However, we need to get teams in that win some games. All right, I'm not saying pull a TCU and actually get to the title game, but that a run like that would be nice, and I think a run like that is possible, especially when you bring Louisville into the fold. That's a pretty damn good program, and I would love to, and we will eventually see it in the Big 12. But Brett Yormark is playing his cards exactly right. Go ahead and give the Big Ten and the SEC, they're in that position. Let me go ahead and do some smart business like I did with ESPN. And then it's up to us. It's up to him. It's up to the fan base. It's up to the ADs. It's up to the presidents of this conference. And up to the players to get some real results. Come back to the table and say, okay, this is the amount we agreed upon before, but the results say that needs to be moved up a little bit. When the media rights comes up, and you got former PAC schools in the Big 12, you got former ACC schools in the Big 12, and you're doing well in the CFP, you're kicking total ass in the NCAA, there needs to be a little bit more cheddar put on this taco. That's Brett Yormark's plan. I like that, to give an avenue to earn more. That's always a good thing. Anyway, that's all the crap I got, and I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.